As a young girl, it feels were mine. We played hide and seek for hours.
Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my paycheck to paycheck budget. Today we're closing out paycheck 1. I'm going to get the actual numbers of expenses that we spent for paycheck 1 for week 1 and week 2 of the weekly check-in. If you've not seen that video, I've already done that, and I'll try to link it, or you can go check my video list, and it's the previous video that I did before this one. So we have all the actual numbers. Everything that was supposed to happen happened. I don't really see any changes in the bills, so these stayed fixed except for the water went down, and it always does because I budget high for that. Just in case we have a water leak like we did last year. Need the cash to cover it, and we didn't know we had the water leak. So other than that, everything stayed the same. Usually utilities are variable, and that's okay. The rest of my expenses are the spending categories. I have 5 spending categories I budget for, and 1 is a line item unbudgeted. I did add this PayPal here at the bottom, kind of like a bill. It wasn't really a bill. My husband wanted to contribute $10 to an office pool to buy flowers for someone that he worked with who lost a family member. So they wanted to buy flowers for the funeral, and everybody was chipping in like $10 or something like that. And somebody had a PayPal account. I have a PayPal, but my husband does not. So I used my PayPal to send that $10, and it worked out just fine. And they were very thankful for that. So this is what we planned for the grocery, household, restaurants, miscellaneous gas, copay, and I'm budgeted for the first half of the month. I take my budget, I split it in half, and then the second half will actually budget what is left over after finding out what the actuals are here, and that will be what I have left for the rest of the month. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to find out the actual balance forward from paycheck 1 to paycheck 2. So my husband has a paycheck coming in, but I need to know how much is sitting in the checking account cash before that happens. So knowing the amount of cash sitting in the checking account before the new deposit hits tells me I'm on the right track, and I am tracking my numbers properly here in my notebook, and I know exactly how much is in my checking account, and all I have to do is check it a couple times a week, and I can tell it's on track. So I really like doing it this way. Handwriting it out is a way of me keeping that number in my mind on where we're at, and it keeps us in budget because I remember what I write down better than looking at a screen or typing a number into an app. My memory recall does not work that way, and it doesn't make sense to me. So I always write it out, and the more I write it out, the better I can hone and fine-tune my budget. So looking at our paycheck 1, I do see an increase in some of the income. I tried to budget low for the income, and then when it actually comes in, there is a little bit more than what we expected. But before we get into that, I do need to put my actuals down here. So where do I get my actuals for grocery, household, and all these categories here? I get that from the weekly check-in, and I'm just going to show you once. I do this every time I come on here, and I just take what I spent for that one category, grocery, household, $323.53, crossing my fingers this number adds up right, and adding it to the second week for the same category, $376.43. I haven't tested this out yet, so let's see. Yes. Okay, we're good. So $699.97 is what I actually what I actually spent for paycheck 1. Now, off to the side, I already have all the numbers, so I'm just going to write them down. But that just shows you I can go through each category and come up with the actual number that way, because my paycheck 1 consists of week 1 and week 2 spending, regardless of how the money comes in and stuff. So I'm going to put this number down, and I'm going to finish the rest of this, and I'll be right back. I have all my numbers written down, and I'm ready to do all my actuals. We're going to start with the income section. So we had $1,947.35 in military retirement. That stays the same all year. $2,400 and wait a minute. $2,400. Where'd that one come from? let's pretend that's not there because it's not supposed to be there. I'm adding numbers that don't exist. Okay, $2,489.96. Checking my number over here. Yes, that's right. That is VA disability for my husband. Rent is $8.27. There were 2 pennies added to our checking account for dividends, so I put that in one category. And then next thing we have is my husband's salary check. The actual was $4.24 more than what I planned for, and I do that intentionally so that I don't shortchange myself down here in our spending categories. So $1,416.24. There we go. So, and I had 0 for extra, either balance forward from last month. We didn't balance anything forward, and I didn't have anything extra different or otherwise come in here. Now, I am not getting a refund check this year. I mentioned before in some of our other videos, we did a Roth conversion. We pay the taxes now instead of in the future when we're in retirement. So what we're doing is taking any money that would have been a refund plus our own cash, and we're paying the tax now, and we're taking it out of our high yield savings where the money's sitting right now. So if you watch my sinking fund videos, you'll see my high yield savings and what activity, and there was a lot of activity this month. We had to deplete it. Another emergency happened. Check out my sinking funds saving video at the end of the month, not the setup, but the closeout, and you'll see what we had to do. So I put a check mark if it's the same, and then I put the difference here, either plus or minus here. So we have in paycheck 1, which is 80% of our income for the entire month, $6,680.57. We increase by $4.24 plus 0.02, and that is $4.26. There we go. Okay, moving on to the next thing we have is the actuals for our monthly bills. So we're going to start at the top, $210, which is our tithing check to our church, plus Greater Europe Mission, which is our tithing check to missionaries, $256.75. And then our Roth. So I pay $665 for my Roth, and my husband does $665 for his Roth. I just did one line item, and it's $1330, and it comes out the first of every month. Mortgage is $2,048.03. If you see my mortgage Monday update videos, I actually went through and did a breakdown of our mortgage and what money went where, what this mortgage number consists of when you break it down. So that's what I did. If you want to check that out, if you never had a mortgage or you have one, you've never really looked at it in detail, I show that in my Mortgage Mondays. And I'm not paying an extra principal only payment anymore, but you can see what a normal payment would do and how it relates to interest and amortization after making several payments ahead of schedule. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. Next, I have $113 for our internet and $101.75 for our Hulu Plus. So ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and Hulu Live, and no commercials on Disney Plus or Hulu. So I really do like that. $7.41 for HP Instant Ink. That is only highlighted in blue here because they actually go to the credit card and I have to remember to pay the credit card. The rest of these come straight out of the checking account. And then $24.92 is for YouTube Premium, and it's for my whole family. You get up to 5 emails to use it with, and I absolutely love that. Our water was $38.90, which is within the normal range here. And then Geico, which is our car insurance for 2 vehicles that are 12 and 13 years old or something like that, $157.53. That gives me a total of $288.86. $11.29. So as you can see, it was just a little bit down, about $11 or so. $11.10, I think. Now I gotta know. It's very close. Yeah, $11.10. That's cool. Anyway, that's how low, that's how much it dropped. That's how much I was under for water. And that is why I budget high. It gives me a little more wiggle room. And because my buffer, if you saw my monthly budget video, was only 96 cents with budgeting low for my income and high for my expenses, now my buffer has another $11 plus this $4.26. So, you know, it adds up by the end of the month. If I don't use the buffer of the checking account, there is more of a buffer than I realized, because the numbers were budgeted in a way that protects the fact that I can make the payment as well as leave a little extra in a checking account. So I'm happy with that. Now we're going to do the actuals to my spending categories. $6.99.96. Obviously I was under here, which is good. For grocery household, $242.91. I was $42.91 over for what I planned for the first 2 weeks of the month, mainly because we went to Lexington Con. If you did not see my weekly check-in, I did story time at the beginning of that. I showed you everybody that we saw. My son and I went together, and we do this every year. And this year we got 12 autographs. I got 4, he got 8. And yeah, go check that out. You'll see it at the very beginning of the video. And we had so much fun. But extra eating out happened because of that. We weren't home to eat, so we had to get something to eat. Miscellaneous, I was also over $62.07. My husband bought something, and then I paid for parking for the con and a couple other things, so it went over a little bit by $12.07. We're still good for the month, but over for this paycheck period. But again, cash is still sitting there. I estimated $1,200 left over. We should be close to that. We'll see. All right, so copay. We only spent $17.93 total for the first 2 weeks. And then I added $10 here for flowers for a funeral for my husband. So there's that. So in all, we still spent less than we planned. So we were under budget in several categories, but we were over budget in 2. So that happens. Let's see, $1,032.87. Okay, so now we're going to figure out what is the actual balance forward. What is the actual cash sitting in my checking account now that all this has been paid, all this has been cleared? What is sitting there? Let's find out. I know I started the month with $6,680.57. And we're going to subtract all the bills that came out, $4,288.29, and then all the spending we did, which was $1,032.87. There we go. Way more. Okay, look, I did $1,200 and it's $1,300. We are looking pretty good going forward, so I'm happy about that. I want to run the numbers one more time, make sure I didn't type something wrong. Hope you don't mind, because I'm surprised by that number. And knowing me, I hit something wrong. No, I didn't. Okay, so we have $1,359.41 as our budget. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this actual balance and balance it forward to Paycheck 2. And this is how I set up Paycheck 2. So we have balance forward. I think this is right. I haven't double checked it with the account. I really should have done that. Now I'm really concerned. But no matter what, this should be very close if it's not accurate. And then if it's not accurate, I will adjust it and make the actual later. But I do know for sure that my husband has a paycheck. It actually got deposited today, $1,417.07. That is what he got. And I'm going to put this as an actual over here because I saw the pending deposit. I'm going to leave the budgeted just where it is. But I know that checks out, so I'm not going to worry about it. I never give myself anything for other It only goes in the actual column because I don't always know when there's going to be other stuff. So now we're moving on. My husband gets paid his salary check twice a month, and we tithe his salary check, and that is at $210 per paycheck. Now, the Greater Europe Mission tithe comes from, in Paycheck 1, comes from his VA disability and his military retirement kind of combined. So that's what we have there. And then AT&T. So we did get the bill. That was 200 and I don't know why I put dot there. It's a 297.24 going forward, and that includes the $10.99 I added to the monthly for my phone for the next 36 months, which I totally regret but needed. So I don't know. It's one of those weird things. I didn't have a cell phone tech category in my sinking funds anymore because we couldn't afford to fund it. That's why I didn't have the money. And I had to lease the phone. And because I am leasing the phone and I'm leasing my boys' phones, even though my son's phones are at a discount, I couldn't get the same discount on mine. So, but I got a reasonable amount. But their leases are coming up in October, and it was cheaper to lease than actually pay cash for. So that was kind of weird. But it was a special that they're not running anymore. Sinking funds. Speaking of sinking funds, there are specific categories that I like to fund. They're annual or quarterly bills or something that happens once a year that we can do, like Christmas, birthday, and stuff like that. I do put a good amount of money aside for that. This month it's going to be $500.32. If you watch my sinking funds setup after this, you will see why the number fluctuates a little bit, because I added a line item, and then I also am doing adjustments because I borrowed from the sinking funds and I'm repaying it back. So that'll change month to month depending on what's going on, if prices increase or anything like that. Life insurance 1 is for me, my husband, and my youngest son, and that is $87.56. And then my oldest son, I have a policy for him, and that is $33.16. He aged out at 25. He's 26 now. Electric this month was a little less than last month, but February was freezing cold, and it was $224.94. I hope to do a debt update, and you're going to see where we're going to have to replace our HVAC and the reason why. This winter was brutal, and it's costing us thousands of dollars. So yeah, it's not been fun. The debt, this is year of the debt. Let's just put it that way. USCCA is my husband's bill, so that's $39.17. And then Apple.com is my subscription for storage on my phone for videos and pictures and all the things. Then the last thing I have is Vivint, our home security system. This is just the monthly service fee. We own the equipment, $65.82. And that is that for the expenses. Now for the budget for the grocery household, basically, if you take the $750 times 2, I budgeted $1,500 for the month. Or if you want to look at it this way, on my weekly check-in, I start out with the month amount over here. So $1,500, $400, $100, $275. So once I get to this point, these balances right here, starting with week 3, are actually the new balance starting in Paycheck 2. So these numbers are going to transfer over. So that's where I get my numbers from. And I can either subtract or I can just pull the numbers from that page. But if you took $1,500 minus the $699, what was it? $699.96, that leaves that $804. So the same thing. Except for the other numbers are just already written down here on this page here. So I'm going to go ahead and write these numbers down, grocery household for the rest of the month, and I believe this should be enough. $800.04. Restaurants, I don't have as much. I have 157. I hope to have 200, but we went over a little bit because of that Saturday. 157.09. We'll see how the month turns out. I don't know. I haven't decided yet on where the extra's coming from. I don't have enough in grocery to do it. It might come out of gasoline. It might come out of copay or a combination thereof. Miscellaneous, I don't have a lot either because I was over. And right now we're sitting at $37.93. Gasoline, we're doing pretty good. I have $126. I only need $60 of this. Maybe a little more. I don't know if my husband's Jeep needs gasoline. It's getting warmer. Weekends, he's probably going to use his Jeep more. And then it won't be long before grass cutting season starts and the riding lawnmower is going to need gasoline. So we will see if this is enough for this month. And then copay, I have $57.07. That looks weird. There we go. And unbudgeted, I never budget for unbudgeted. That's just the buffer of the checking account line item. And if you may notice, I originally had stickers here. They were too small for me to write on, so I just wrote this. And I'm going to create stickers that kind of simulate that. So we'll see what next month looks like. But EOM just means end of month, estimated end of month, and actual end of month. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to total all these different budgeting items, and we're going to figure out what is the estimated end of month balance. And that is what we will use as our buffer of our checking account. If we need to use it, I have it unbudgeted, or I can add a category here. Either way, it does the exact same thing. So let's go ahead and do these totals. So for income, I'm balancing forward $1,359.41. I think. I'm going to double check that. If it's different, I'll put it different in the actuals. But it should be very close to that. And then I'm adding $1,417.07 from my husband's paycheck. That's his entire paycheck after taxes, after retirement, after a bunch of stuff. So yeah. And so we're looking at, for the rest of this month, for the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of the month, $2,776.48. Now for the fixed expenses here, I should not have anything go up or down because the electric, I have the bill and I know what it is. Okay, so I'm going to total this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I know in bills we have to pay $1,461.20, which is a little bit over what my husband's salary is. So it's a good thing I pulled money over from Paycheck 1 to Paycheck 2. And that does show that all the spending categories are covered here in the balance forward. So I do like seeing that comparison there. So, and like I said, these shouldn't go up and down because the electric utility, I have the actual bill. I know exactly to the penny. These others don't move up and down. So we're good to go there. Next, I have the expenses for spending categories, and I'm going to total these numbers up. Okay, $1,178.87. So that's definitely less. So let's see how much buffer I have left in the checking account. So we're going to start with the income, $2,776.48, and we're going to subtract the $1,461.20 and minus the $1,178.87, and we get $136 left over. That surprises me. There's something not right here. Let me go back and backtrack because I should have $63.13 left over. And there's something that's off by $73.28, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. It can't be the bill. So give me a second and I will figure this out. Okay, I am back and I have discovered the problem. I wrote the wrong number here. I'm not sure what math I was using. It wasn't even the right number for the spending category. So we're going to total those up again and readjust the balance forward number because that's what was throwing me off and confusing me. And I wanted to make sure I got it fixed before I closed out this video. So I'm going to total this up again and get the correct number. Okay, so the correct number is $1,106.13. Now, if you caught that earlier, let me know in the comments. I would love to know if you saw that there was a big mistake. And I think I know how I might have done it because I hit just now 66996 almost instead of 69996. So repetitive numbers sometimes throw me off when I'm doing the calculations, and I get the wrong number, but I usually catch myself, so that's okay. Let's start with the income again. $6,680.57 minus the $4,288.29 and minus the $1,106.13. That number looks better from what my notes say and the actuals. So $1,286.15 is what we actually had left over in the balance before the new check or new deposit hit the checking account. So my husband's paycheck. So now we know all these numbers. Paycheck 1 is done. Paycheck 2 is ready. I already have the number written down here. I did it off camera. I thought I was recording and I wasn't, but that's okay. So we're going to total this plus the paycheck, which is $1,417.07. That was correct. And so my actual number is $2,703.22. Now let's see if my estimated actual is close to what I expect for the end of the month buffer the checking account. I'm looking for what money is left over, and this is going to tell me that. So I have $2,703.22. I'm going to subtract the $1,461.20, and then I'm going to subtract the $1,178.87. There we go. All right, $63.15, that is the buffer sitting in the checking account as of today, because I have earmarked all this money for all the bills and all the spending, and we are good to go. We have enough money to cover everything we planned, and we still have $63 left over. So if I need to compensate for restaurants or miscellaneous, I can with that $63. I was thinking I would have some left in gas, but I may not if my husband starts cutting grass or starts driving his Jeep more. Then we might need the gasoline money. So copay, I don't think anything is going to come out for the rest of this month, but you never know. So it just depends on when prescriptions are coming due for my family. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. End of the month estimated balance is $63.15 as the buffer of the checking account, but it may be gone before the end of the month, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this number as an actual because now that I've found my mistake and it matches my spreadsheet, which does the math much better than I do, I know this is correct and good. So we are done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
Raised our shadows among the pines, so offshore, playful and free, without a care.